Italignum on the road da Asten, Olanda. Abbiamo parlato con i titolari di Prodinex, azienda produttrice di pavimenti resilienti. Questa è l'ultima parte dell'intervista e è quella, possiamo dire, più tecnica, nella quale appunto affrontiamo con chi i pavimenti li produce tutta una serie di aspetti legati alle condizioni ambientali nelle quali questi pavimenti vanno utilizzati, posati. Riteniamo sia un video molto utile, quindi prendetevi il tempo di darci un occhio. Se vi piace il tipo di contenuti che proponiamo o avete trovato interessante questo video in particolare, vi chiediamo di iscrivervi al canale, metterci un like, farci sapere nei commenti cosa ne pensate, raccomandazioni fatte, quindi lanciamo la sigla e buona visione! Okay, so we are here again with Manfred, and this is a special, let's say, answer we need from you about the, okay, yeah, we saw that you can have the best product in the world, but there is also another aspect. We can make your job not what you would like it to be in the end. So product is one part, installation is the other half of the moon. Is there something in particular you have to pay attention? I mean, when you are checking the installation sheets, on what would you like to put the attention of our viewers on?
No, of course you buy a nice product and you want it to be nice on the floor.
Yes,
that you can enjoy the floor for several years, and that is what we normally see in the market, that not always the floor is the LVT floor, SPC or the dry bags are not installed in the right way, and then afterwards, yeah, it can cause a problem which you don't want, of course. So it's not only the quality of the product which should be okay, it's always the installation which is maybe more important than the product itself, to do it in the right way. If not, yeah, again, it's the same with a car. If you have a fuel car, you put diesel in the car, yes, it will not run anymore. And that's
but the car was okay.
The car was okay, and the fuel is okay. But in this case, yeah, you need to keep the good installation instructions. Otherwise, it can be a problem. And we think there must be paid more attention to the right installation.
Something in particular, maybe you gave us some inputs about the importance of the dilatation gaps, I think. Of course, that is quite, I think that all customers, they know they have to respect the dilatation. But sometimes I feel it like the subfloor is something you can pass over without giving the proper attention. But,
well, if you look
it's really important, I mean.
Of course it's important. But I think you mean especially now the click floors.
Yes, exactly. In particular.
Now all click floors are floating floors, so they're lying loose on the subfloor. And every floor which is floating can expand and can shrink. In this case, an SPC has nothing to do with moisture, because it's moisture resistant and it's even water resistant. But temperature can be an influence on the floor. So therefore, it's very important, first of all, that you use enough expansion rate on the sides. That means on all sides of the floor, at the walls, at the doors, at the radiators, everywhere. Because it can be that the floor is stuck on maybe 1 centimeter to the wall, and that can cause already a problem on the floor.
Yes, okay.
Yeah, that the floor will curve or bend or top or whatever. That's a main thing. But on the other side, which is definitely also important, is a good observation of the subfloor. Because the subfloor, they are never even, so they have to be leveled, or at least enough leveled.
You have at least to know what you have on the subfloor.
Yeah, exactly.
Someone, you just put it on top of the floating flooring without taking care of what you have.
No,
it's important to know what you have, which are the gaps. I mean, at the level of height.
No, first of all, you have to look at the subfloor. Which kind of subfloor do you have? Is it a concrete subfloor? Is it a wooden subfloor? With a wooden subfloor, it can bend more easily. A wooden subfloor.
Yes,
so maybe
of course.
you have to stabilize the wooden subfloor first before you put a click SPC on the floor. If you have a concrete floor, you really have to measure: is the concrete leveled enough or flat?
The evenness. I mean, if you have this.
Yeah.
Like a.
Yeah. If you do not do that and you just put an SPC click on the floor, it can happen that there is too much movement in the floor.
Yes.
And afterwards, the click system will break, and your product will be loops will be disconnected actually. So if you have a concrete floor, you must have an evenness of maximum 2 or 3 millimeters, depending on which SPC plank you take, but that the subfloor cannot have more than 2 or 3 millimeters per meter height difference.
Okay.
Even if the subfloor is made of tiles, that's also you can put it over the tiles, but also the tiles cannot have height difference more than 2 or 3 millimeters. Is it more? You have to level the floor. Is it less? Then you can put the click directly on it.
Problems you can
never use some extra subfloor between it.
Okay.
Some soft foams also. Just some people think that's nice. That's maybe nicer to walk on.
It's too soft.
That's too soft, and therefore you get also too much movement in the floor, and in the end also the click system will break. Okay. So you have to prevent that.
So let's say that the main problems you can have if you don't respect these simple lines, let's say, is that the breaking of the heads of the planks, and also the fact that they are pushing one against the other, and they make that kind of a wave. I mean,
if you don't take enough expansion rates around the floor, it can happen that the floor is going to push itself.
One against the other,
and then slowly you see the problem of on the top ends or on the long ends that the floor is doing this. Then the floor is cannot move, so it cannot extend. And if that takes too long and you walk over the floor, you will break the system, the click system. If the subfloor is not even enough, you get actually the same problem. Most of the times you don't see exactly directly that topping, it's how it's called, but the click system breaks immediately.
Okay.
And that's always also the case if you don't use the proper chairs or with the wrong wheels.
Kind of wheels, yeah.
And what you asked me about dilatation, is that necessary? You can use it, the dilatation. The dilatation is somewhere in the floor if the surface is too large, or very large at least. We say now, depending on the dimension stability of an SPC click, that you can have rooms from 10 by 10 meter with 5 millimeter expansion rate around it. If you have a bigger floor from 200 square meters and the floor is maybe 20 by 10 meters, on the length of 10 meters, you have to use the 5 millimeter expansion rate. If on the length of the 20 meters, you can have two options. Or in the middle, you take a dilatation of at least 5 millimeters on both sides. Or you can put the floor into the 20 meters, but then on the 20 meters, you have to 2 times 5 millimeters, so 10 millimeter expansion rate around it. Okay. And then nothing can happen.
Thank you.
Is it possible to install large surfaces?
Yes.
Yes, it's possible, as long as, of course, the subfloor is okay, but also you take enough expansion rate around it.
You have to respect these simple rules. I mean,
only in cases where people have a very good acclimatized room, so they have an air conditioning in and the temperature is always on the same level, they will never have a problem, because it's only the change in temperature, especially behind the window or with the floor heating, where you have to take care.
Okay, thank you very much.